Distinguished participants, dear partners, dear colleagues, good morning. I'm pleased to welcome you to this capacity building workshop for the Ethiopian Securities Exchange, organized in partnership with Ethiopian Investment Holdings, the Ethiopian Securities Exchange, and FSD Africa, with technical support from the Ethiopian Capital Market Authority and financial backing from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This workshop is a critical step for the preparation of the launch of Ethiopia's first securities exchange and the development of Ethiopia's financial system. We have a series of presentations and interactive sessions prepared for you to strengthen the capacity of the market participants, prepare potential issuers and investors, introduce ESX to key policymakers and regulators, and bridge discussions among stakeholders. Distinguished participants, ECA has been growing with our host country, Ethiopia, for the past 6 decades. As the political hub of the African continent and the second most populous country in Africa, Ethiopia's reform agenda and pathway of inclusive and sustained development have significance for its own citizens as well as for the region. Therefore, ECA spares no effort in supporting Ethiopia's socio-economic development and structural transformation. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, Ethiopia, as many African countries, has faced a series of challenges, including a high burden of external debt service, a food and energy price crisis, and difficult weather conditions fueled by climate change. It is time we build inclusivity and resilience against future shocks by reforming internal institutions and deepening domestic markets. Robust local capital markets allow us to effectively mobilize domestic resources for long-term investments in a country's productive capacity, thereby providing a significant boost to structural transformation. This bolstering of Africa's country's fiscal space is more sustainable than a heavy reliance on external funding, which is frequently exposed to exchange rate risks and vulnerable to sudden capital flight. In this regard, the Ethiopian Securities Exchange is a game changer for Ethiopia and for the region. It will not only build an ecosystem where issuers and investors make their needs met, but also, more fundamentally, improve fiscal and corporate governance, boost market transparency, and catalyze financial education and capacity building of market participants in Ethiopia. Dear colleagues, as we are about to enter a new era for Ethiopia's capital markets and embark on a new journey, it is high time for us to think about inclusivity, sustainability, and connectivity when we prepare for the launch of ESX, so that we can make the best out of this important platform. For inclusivity, we must ensure small institutional investors and retail investors have equal access to information and opportunities. Extensive consultation with representatives from the different market segments, such as this event, would help us to design and operationalize a better ESX. The roles of micro, small, and medium enterprises and women entrepreneurs cannot be overemphasized, and they shouldn't be left behind in the process of capital market development. For sustainability, we must encourage innovative instruments and solutions in our capital markets for green transition. The awareness, standards, and regulatory frameworks are just as important as the tools themselves, and the launch of ESX will be a catalyst for regulators, the market, and all stakeholders to take resolute actions in financing for sustained development. For connectivity, we must build a strong Pan-African network of capital markets for standard setting, information sharing, peer learning, and eventually listing and trading. Today, we have over 30 stock exchanges operating in Africa, but individually, our capital markets are still generally small, thus vulnerable to headwinds from global markets. By joining hands with peer African exchanges and harmonizing the rules and standards, we can facilitate capital flows and investments across the continent, create market resilience against external turbulences, elevate the African continental free trade area, and boost private sector development. Therefore, I'm very glad to hear that this event has gathered many experts from different countries of our continent to share their experience and expertise. Distinguished participants, ECA is a reliable partner to African countries for socio-economic development. In the area of domestic financial market development, ECA has supported OMFIF to produce the ABSA Africa Financial Markets Index, partnered with Frontclear to support Uganda, Tanzania, and Zambia to develop their money market, and helped Angola develop its domestic local currency bond market. Today, we are very glad to support the ESX, Ethiopia's groundbreaking initiative on financial market development, together with partners. I encourage all of you to have dynamic discussions and interactions in this two-day event and move forward the launch of ESX in its best shape. I thank you very much for your kind attention.